So much Tesla stock news today. Gerber just sold Tesla stock. There's this controversy about Tesla hiding the Autopilot data that they used to release every single quarter. We have some new shocking EV data, and there's a huge change that X/Twitter just made. But let's start with this strike. Tesla employees just threatened to go on strike this Friday, and I think they are actually really serious. This is bad news for us Tesla stock investors. However, the good thing about this is that this is in Sweden and it's only 120 employees. However, this is largely because there are unionization efforts in Germany against Tesla, and this could spread all over Europe and maybe even come here to North America as well. That would be not good news at all. Tesla is benefiting from Ford and GM and Stellantis strikes, but if Tesla's employees unionize, that would not be great for Tesla. It's not like it would be a disaster or anything like that. It would just slow down Tesla a little bit. Also, this is happening amid an effort to bring collective bargaining to tech workers in Sweden, with employees of major Sweden-based companies like Spotify launching unionization efforts lately. Tesla did increase pay in Germany because there was also some effort to unionize, so I assume the same will probably happen here in Sweden. But if these employees are asking for way too much, I think Tesla is a much more powerful position here than the employees, because Sweden is a relatively small market. Tesla could just stop selling in Sweden for half a year, and while this would slightly affect Tesla, it wouldn't really be all that much of an effect. And it would set an example of, if you want to bargain with us in bad faith, not in good faith, but in bad faith, then we don't mind holding our ground and fight against unfair negotiations, which would then deter employees in other countries also from unionizing. I think Tesla should just increase pay a little bit and just make sure that everything is fair, and then see if employees are happy. Probably they would be happy, but if they are not, and if they still want to unionize, in the long term, they are actually doing a disservice to themselves, because Tesla's culture is very dynamic. It's not for someone who wants to take it easy. It's for someone who wants to work really hard and give it all they have. I think companies that are not as innovative, I don't think it's all that of a big deal for the employees to unionize there. It still hurts them, but I don't think it hurts them as much as innovative companies would get hurt. So I'm personally speaking as an investor here. I think Tesla is probably going to try to fight this as hard as they possibly can. And if I was an employee, then if I want a union, it means I'm not trying to be one of the top employees. So I would just go to another company. I want more opportunity for myself. Right now, Tesla attracts the top of the top of the top, and it really helps to have that, because Tesla is working on problems that in many cases have never been solved before. But if I was an employee that's not thinking 10, 20 years ahead about my career, yeah, of course I want a union. I want to squeeze every single penny from the company, and I don't care at all what happens to the company later. I don't care at all if it stagnates later. I'm just looking at my own gain at the expense of the company. And then there is a union. Everyone starts walking on eggshells. Well, the management does. The relationship between employees and the management becomes less trusting, because, at all times, even if you are friendly, they can go to the union and they can make your life very difficult very quickly. And another thing that happens with unions is they just don't know when to stop. They just keep asking for more, and then it leads eventually to a result like this, where Toyota and GM close down the entire plant because the union was just asking for too much. And I don't think any of these union members were happy with the union at all. They all got fired, basically laid off, which is exactly what is going to happen with many Ford's and GM's plants as well, due to incredibly high demands from the union. Now, I don't really blame the union that's negotiating with Ford and GM for trying to squeeze out every single penny from these companies, because the leadership, especially when you look at GM, the leadership is so incompetent. They crushed the EV1, the first mass-produced electric vehicle in the world, basically. They could have transitioned 20 years ago, and they chose not to do it. So it's completely their fault for not doing it. The company is just incompetent. So a company like that shouldn't really stay in business, and the union will help it go bankrupt sooner. And a lot of people will lose their jobs in the meantime as well. And some already have. Ford laid off some people, supposedly has nothing to do with the union strike. And then 900 more people were laid off, and GM and Ford blamed the strike. So especially in this case of GM, the situation is just so horrible. It's terrible. But it's all because of ridiculously incompetent leadership that had everything they possibly needed to actually transition to EVs, and they chose not to. And just to be extremely clear, while it would not be great if Tesla's employees unionized, it would be a negative for Tesla. Tesla stock, I believe, would still be an incredibly great investment. Tesla is being accused of hiding something about its autopilot. I think there is a really good explanation here, actually, but there is a very valid point here as well. Tesla hasn't released an autopilot safety data report in about a year. It's not clear why, but it is disappointing as the company is being opaque with its self-driving data while missing timelines to deliver on its promises, writes Electric. So if you look at this data, why did Tesla stop releasing it, especially if it keeps getting better? Why would Tesla stop doing it? Well, when did Tesla decide to pursue the version 12, FSD version 12 approach? I think this timeline sort of matches that, because you would expect Autopilot to keep improving, but if Tesla switched to FSD 12, so end-to-end, obviously Tesla is not going to work all that much on Autopilot anymore, which would make it not improve really anymore. Why should Tesla work on something that they know is going to be really obsolete relatively quickly? Do I think that Autopilot improved? Well, if Autopilot improved, I think Tesla would have released that data, because there's only upside to releasing such data. One more possible explanation for this is that Tesla decided to release this data yearly instead of quarterly, because if you look at each quarter, there's so much variation between each quarter that occasionally you may think, oh, Tesla's Autopilot is getting worse. For example, if you compare let's say Q3 to Q4 here, you would have thought, yeah, what is going on here? But overall, generally the trend, if you compare Q4 2020 to 2021, yeah, clearly it got better, and the same goes for this Q4 as well. So that could be another explanation. In other words, I don't see any bad news here. I just see Tesla focusing on what actually matters, and that is solving full self-driving and using the end-to-end approach instead of focusing on this legacy system. Tesla has revealed they have already invested $5.8 billion into Giga Texas. Long-term, they plan to spend $10 billion. Another key highlight is the average wage paid by Tesla, which stands at an impressive $74,000. That's nice. Ross Gerber just sold some Tesla stock. He manages well over $1 billion. And most of that money we cannot see because it's in privately managed accounts, but we can see what he does with his ETF, which is very tiny compared to the total amount of money that he manages. But we do see that he cut his Tesla position despite Tesla stock already being under the 8.5% allocation in his fund. Currently, Tesla stock is at 7.5% roughly in his fund. So he sold some because perhaps he thinks, oh, Tesla stock is going to go down before earnings, and that was the right call that appears so far. Tesla stock is slightly down, perhaps because of the union threat, but also Ross says that he doesn't really trade, but then I look at his track record, I can't really say that's really the case. Either way, Tesla stock remains his #1 position. So clearly he is still very bullish about Tesla stock. Huge Twitter/X news. X has officially announced that starting today, they are testing a new not a bot program in New Zealand and the Philippines. New unverified accounts will be required to sign up for a $1 annual subscription to be able to post and interact with other posts. Within this test, existing users are not affected. You will still be able to sign up and read without paying anything. You will only need to pay if you want to comment or post. I think this is one of these ideas that could be really great or perhaps really bad. They will test first, and if it goes well, yeah, it could be a great success. And if it doesn't work, then they just start the test and nothing bad happens. So Elon Musk can't really lose here with this test. And even if it supposedly fails, this could actually still be an incredible success because the media will be talking about this, creating urgency for people to sign up for X/Twitter, because if you don't sign up now, later, you will need to pay. Maybe. And maybe eventually everyone will have to pay a little bit if anyone wants to post something on Twitter or comment. But you would be able to save and probably not pay this year and maybe even next year if the program becomes successful. So this could actually drive more users to sign up for Twitter/X. Tesla has revealed a 120-acre Giga Texas ecological uplift project. That's a lot of land. It will be a really beautiful project. NotATeslaApp.com reports that it is now easier to find superchargers on your mobile app, and also you can sort them by these filtering options here. So you can also charge at the cheapest location, for example. With Teslas, you can enable this driver drowsiness warning. When enabled, the driver drowsiness warning systems activate over 65 kilometers an hour when driven for a minimum of 10 minutes and autopilot is not engaged. My understanding is it uses the cabin camera to determine whether you are paying attention or not. Despite everything that's going on in Israel, the new Model 3 deliveries have just begun there. Remember that Reuters article that says that Tesla is losing market share in the US? Well, so far this year, Tesla has grown its US EV sales by more than twice as many vehicles as the second place brand sold in total. Here's some shocking data about EVs. Half of EV owners will go back to a gas-powered vehicle, but not counting us Tesla drivers, says a new study. For example, only 37.3% of Ford Mustang Mach-E owners bought another EV. When you compare it to Tesla, yeah, that number looks really bad. Tesla's EV loyalty rate is 76.7%. No wonder these companies are struggling with their EV transition. Once people buy their vehicles, they don't want to buy another one when it is time to move on to the next car. Well, this is really shocking data because generally EVs are just so much better. What's shocking is that these legacy automakers cannot make the EVs good enough for a consumer to want to buy another EV after that. I mean, after having an EV. AutoTrader just released their refresh Model 3 review, and they say if you ever put off buying a Model 3 because you didn't think it was premium or fancy enough, I think this car might change your mind. And here's some more good news here. CarWow has crowned the Tesla Model 3 the best electric sedan available for sale today. Lucid is experiencing a catastrophe. It just missed its deliveries by a lot. And finally, the investors are waking up to this being a more difficult situation than they initially perhaps thought. I mean, Lucid's stock didn't really go down all that much yesterday, immediately after the report was released, but now it is going down. Seems like Lucid investors are a bit slow to react to bad news. Their production every quarter has been lower and lower and lower. If they stop raising money, the bankruptcy really is inevitable. 4 Cybertrucks were spotted today at Giga Texas, and it seems like Tesla is finally not bothering with the covers anymore. Finally, the BMW group is adopting the Tesla charging standard. That will include the Mini brand, the BMW brand, as well as the Rolls-Royce brand. So good news for Tesla here. Troy just posted this chart showing how accurate all of the retail Tesla stock analysts have been when it comes to predicting Tesla's earnings, and Gary Black is actually number 1. At least in the last 4 quarters. Honey Jam is number 2. Street Consensus is number 3, actually. James is number 4, and Troy is number 5. Gary's latest estimate is 72 cents per share. Troy's estimate is 71 cents per share. James is at 70 cents, but he hopes for 80 cents or more, but that's not what his projection is. For Zad is at 68 cents. And a reminder to everyone that even though Tesla has beaten Wall Street consensus earnings per share in the 14 of the past 16 quarters, Tesla stock price has only risen on the following day in 7 of those 16 days. So it's actually more likely, at least based on that data, that Tesla stock will go down tomorrow. And Wall Street is expecting that Tesla's gross margin will be at 17.7%. And here's everyone else's estimates. James Stevenson, who nailed the delivery numbers, is actually extremely bullish on the earnings. Well, we'll find out very soon if he's going to nail these numbers too. This video is about buying Tesla stock, how to dollar cost average, when to buy, how much to buy, and how I would buy Tesla stock if I had a big lump sum. It is exclusively available on Patreon, and by joining my Patreon, you will get access to how much I think it is fair to pay per Tesla share each year between 2023 and 2033. If you sign up for the investor tier of support, you will also get my valuation model of Tesla stock with a 45-minute video walkthrough. And YouTube says you should watch this video next, but if you haven't finished watching that discussion about the future with Elon Musk, watch this one first. My name is Matt Potius. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.